What's up, duelists? Finally, X-Saber deck profile. I gotta shout out Totagon. He helped me work on this list a lot. And I also gotta shout out my opponents for being incredibly powerful this week. Man, I had some tough games, but I'm excited to show them to you guys. Also, if you like this paper content, make sure and like and subscribe. It's actually quite a bit of effort to make these videos. You gotta order the cards 2 weeks in advance. You gotta test the list. You gotta make sure it's good. You gotta cut all the footage together. You gotta do, just show a little support. You know what I'm saying? You guys know. Make me feel like I'm doing something good. Anyway, 3 Faltral. You know I'm a fan of these dual terminal. They look really good. Faltral is the best card in the deck. If you draw 1 or 2, you're usually going to win unless you draw a double Airbellum, which is like, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. All right, double Full Helm Knight. You can play 3 of this card if you expect a lot of Raikou decks. But I think overall, this card is fine as a 2 of. Drawing 2 of this card is actually quite bad. The first one is usually pretty good, and the second one usually just rots in your hand. It's a 1300 vanilla normal summon that does have a pretty good effect, but again, it's not good to draw multiples. Even if I have 2 of them and a Faltral, I summon 1, I negate attack, I summon a second one, I special Faltral. This doesn't really do anything. So drawing 2 of them it doesn't even really set up for a big combo play with Faltral, which is kind of the point of your monsters. Triple Emmer's Blade. They don't come dual terminal in English, but they come dual terminal in Korean. So shout out Korean Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess. This is the best X-Saber in my opinion because it is every X-Saber except Faltral, and even sometimes it is Faltral. If you have one in your grave, you can go get Ragigura and bring it back. There's a lot of combos with this card. The biggest combo I like is when your opponent has a bigger monster, like a Shura or something. You can summon this and then crash into their monster, and then special Full Helm Knight. Use Book of Moon to book their monster, run it over with Full Helm Knight, and then bring back the Emmer's Blade. That feels pretty good usually. 1 Ragigura. This card's important for the 1-for-1 combo. You gotta play him. He's important. Don't play 2. You're gonna draw it. You're gonna feel bad. And even if you draw the 1, you can still special summon it off of 1-for-1. But yeah, you gotta play at least 1 of this card. And I think maximum 1 of this card. Once again, doesn't come dual terminal in English, but looks pretty good in Japanese. You know the vibes. Triple Airbellum, aka guaranteed to draw 2 of this card. I wish there was a way to like not make that happen while also making your deck better, but every single way you have to make drawing this card better makes your deck worse. So you either play a worse deck and aren't as upset with drawing X-Saber Airbellum, or you play the best possible version of your deck and you draw a couple Airbellums here and there. I think that's the biggest problem with this deck by far. I think that you are either nerfing your own deck to make up for this one specific circumstance, or you have to play the full power version with this high risk that some percentage of games you're just going to lose due to the fact that you have drawn 2 of a card that is in your deck, which totally happens. So yeah, pretty lame card. I really wish that the nature of this deck wasn't like Super Garnet Turbo, because it'd be a really fun deck otherwise. And I think the mirror match is also really fun, so I'd like to play the mirror match more. I wish it was more popular type of thing, but yeah, unfortunately it does come with this big Garnet brick factor. The reason you need him to stay in deck, of course, Rescue Cat, play 1 of this card. Never play the Alt Art. That is a huge L. 1 Summoner Monk, this gets you to Cat. Nice shatter foil in Japanese, looks really cool. Monster lineup in general, it just looks so flashy when you have it all like swagged out like this. 2 Giant Rats, this gets you to Rescue Cat. This card is better than Upstart Goblin because, once again, if you draw 2 Airbellums, your cat does nothing. So you need to rat into cat and not draw more cards in the meantime, because every card drawn past Rescue Cat is, or if you have 1 card you want to draw into, let's say Rescue Cat, for example, and you have 3 cards you don't want to draw into, every card drawn past the first one is a higher percentage chance. I think it's like something like 75% higher chance to draw your second Airbellum than it is to draw your first cat. So you don't really want to draw cards with this deck if you can avoid it. There is 1 card in this deck that does draw cards, but you play it for different reasons. 1 Sangan, this searches cat. So basically just 4 ways to search cat. So you play 5 copies of cat, and you're trying to set up like a cat Faltral play or a cat Faltral Godam's E-Call play, and that'll usually win you the game. There's a couple other ways to play with nothing in play, like Full Helm Book, but for the most part, you need 2 Saber names to really do anything with this deck. Do anything impactful, I'd say. Heavy Storm, Space Typhoon. Once again, you got to clear the way, and then I also do play Giant Trunade. This deck does a good job of discarding cards from the hand, whether that's with the Airbellums that you're 100% going to draw, or with the Godams that you maybe get to summon sometimes. It's like Heavy Storm that can't be roted in this deck. One Rhoda, this is to get Full Helm Knight only, but it's also nice because you can use it to dodge Dust Shoot, and you can also pitch it to Monk, which is cool. Mind Control, Brain Control, staples for any Synchro deck. 2 Gold Sark. I actually got some really cool Gold Sarks. They are the Pharaoh's Rare Gold Sark. I'm not even sure if you can see all that. They look cool though. I don't know if you can see all that. Yeah, there we go. They look sick. I really like this. I wish we would have gotten this rarity in English. It's kind of like sparkly, and then it's got a Pharaoh's Rare. I don't know if that's showing up or not, but let me know in the comments if you like that. 1 for 1, this combos with Ragigura. This is your second rescue cat, basically. 1 for 1 Ragigura, add back a monster. Normal summon that monster is going to be 2 Saber names from nothing. So you have to play this. I think this is mandatory. It's almost better than rescue cat in a lot of instances because this is like your hand loop enabler. 1 level limit and 3 Book of Moon. These are to switch battle positions and control the opponent. Level limit area B is a very broken card. Every game you draw this, you probably win. 3 Book of Moon, these are just like the best interactive pieces because they work under Trapstone. The deck plays a lot of Trapstones. And then it also works with Full Helm Knight, which is really cool. It can help you defend your monsters as well. Like let's say you special Full Troll and then your opponent goes bottomless. You can chain Book to keep your Full Troll around. And he actually has pretty big defense. You can also defend your Gotems after you've summoned it as well, which is pretty good because 2600 defense is pretty hard to get over. So yeah, great cards in general. And if you're ever having trouble outing your own level limit area B, remember that High on Lay can pop any spell and trap in play, so you can just synchro into High on Lay and pop your own level limit if you need to at any point in the game, or you can make Bryonic and bounce it and then reset it when it's your opponent's turn. There's a lot of cool ways to use this card. I used to play Trag in this deck as well, but yeah, I'll show you what I cut for Trag, basically, or cut Trag for. Trap cards, Solemn Judgment, this is the best card, because it just means your play is going to go through. And it also means that your opponent can't like Caius you. Caius is kind of like enemy number 1. So this covers everything, covers Caius, and it also covers back row. So yeah, pretty useful card. 1 Starlight Road. This card helps you because like I said, if you're going for a play, you need to make sure you have 2 Saber names in play. And this plays around Bottomless and Torrential. And you might be thinking, Keegan, you can't Starlight Road Bottomless on 1 monster. No, but usually what you're going to do is you're going to summon Cat, and you're going to go Cat effect, and you're going to summon 2 Air Bellums. And for those of you who don't know, Bottomless says when a monster is summoned or any monster is summoned. So since they're summoned at the same time, Bottomless Trap Hole will try to destroy both of them, and then you can Starlight Road and get a Stardust Dragon and continue your combo. So yeah, it's just like an extra way to play through your combo. It also lets you set multiples, and it defends your level limit area B, and it defends you from Icarus attack, and it defends you from deck dev on the combo turn. So yeah, it's a pretty important card in this deck. I like playing the 1 of. I wouldn't play without it game 1. I side it out sometimes against Frogs, but I still think it's too important game 1. Another card that helps you force through combos is Trapstone. I am main decking 1. You could main deck up to 3. This card is excellent, honestly. This could replace a lot of cards in the deck, and it would probably be just fine. I think most of the flexibility in this deck is going to come in the trap lineup. The spell lineup I feel like is perfect. The monster lineup I feel like is close to perfect. The only thing is I wish I could play 4 Arbellum, so drawing 2 wouldn't be so bad, you know what I mean? But obviously you can't. But yeah, the trap lineup is kind of the most up for debate. Triple Fiendish Chain, I think this is the best trap card in this slot because it works well with Bryonic and with Trunade, and it leaves your opponent's monsters in play so you can crash into them with your recruiters to find your Cat or to find your, your combo plays with Full Helm Knight and whatnot. I also think this card is important because it stops Caius. Caius on your monster is pretty backbreaking. Most cards in the game don't really stop Caius. And the nice thing about Fiendish Chain, as opposed to something like Saber Hole, is that Fiendish Chain will work when you have a set monster. So like if I need to set a giant rat turn 1, I can set Fiendish Chain and I can feel pretty safe from Caius throughout the rest of the game, which is pretty nice. This card's very good in this deck. I think Totagon was the first person to try it, and I have loved it ever since. The nice part about this card too is like if you draw multiples, you get uses out of them, you use them, and you basically get to play 3 copies of Trunade because you have Gold Sark and Trunade. So if you have a hand with like 2 Fiendish and a Gold Sark, something like this, it's almost always correct to Gold Sark for Giant Trunade because that'll give you double uses out of all your Fiendish Chains, which is really, really nice. So because this deck has a consistent access to Giant Trunade, I think that Fiendish Chain is actually really, really strong here. Normally you don't play it because in Edison format, they can utilize the body, but in this case, it works well in your favor. It stops the things you need to stop, and your combo will inevitably run over anything that remains or whatever. You get the idea. But yeah, generally a bad card in Edison format, but for this specific strategy, it has enough utility that I think it's worth playing. Triple Gotham's Emergency Call. I think this is non-negotiable. This is probably the second best card in the deck next to Fall Troll. And I guess Cat. Obviously, Cat's very broken. But yeah, this card's really, really good. This is kind of your follow-up play. This is what lets you play even without two names in play. So between this, between 1-for-1, and between all the ways to Cat, you have a lot of ways to get multiple Sabers into play. Also, if you have to blow your Cat early, Gotham's E-Call is the way that you can set up a Fall Troll play later on, because it'll put 2 Sabers into your graveyard. So this card's pretty important because it's your follow-up. It's like your Avarice or whatever, but it's better and faster and just insanely broken. And then the last card is that one with the sword. I didn't know how this card worked. Apparently, you'll see in the tournament matches. I don't know what I'm doing with this card, but it's actually pretty good when you know how it works. And Totagon played it. I use it. There's a couple instances I use it in the tournament. That's pretty cool. Once I figured out how this card works, apparently, after I read it for the first time, you can use it to like dodge Hero Blast, dodge Deck Dev. It's kind of cool. And you can also use it as a damage step trick. And it does draw cards, which is pretty bad. But again, it's kind of just like an extra way to play the game when you have just one Saber. Like, let's say you've drawn Airbellum, right? Because, of course, you've always drawn Airbellum, right? That's just the way it works. So you normal summon Airbellum, you set this. It's pretty strong. Your opponent will try to run over the Airbellum because that's just what they do. You flip this in the damage step, they can't interact, and then you get to draw a card, and then on your turn you hit direct for 24, you rip another card. It's just nice. I think it's underrated. It's obviously bad because the only time you can activate it is if you only control one X-Saber. That's it. So you can't activate it if you have 2 X-Sabers or whatever. But in the situations where you're losing, you only have 1 X-Saber, and that's going to be, you know, the time where you need the help. If you already have 2 X-Sabers, you don't really need the help. You can synchro, you can use Fall Troll, you can do whatever you need to do, but if you only have 1 X-Saber, that's when you need like kind of the big power boost from out one with the sword. So it works in situations where you're losing, which is what I like about it. This is where you could play Trag. I think Trag is pretty good in this deck because you can change his level with his effect, and then he can attack under level limit area B, which is really strong. And then he acts as like an extra brain control, mind control, and he also acts as like just a way to apply pressure and soften up your opponent, and it's just a good standalone card that you can play under oppression, which is really nice too. So yeah, this card could be Trag. It helps you, again, in those weaker circumstances where you don't have any X-Sabers in play. But I think at one with the sword is a cool card, and it's on theme, so that's why I played it. But yeah, Trag's probably better, honestly. All right, extra deck. Extra deck time. So the extra deck, X-Saber monsters, I only play 1 Hyunlei. You can't make it that easily. The only way you can make it is with Emmer's Blade, and usually when you're making it with Emmer's Blade, you'd probably rather make Bionic, but you do need to play the 1, I think. It does come up here and there. Pretty rare, but it does come up here and there. 1 X-Saber Airbellum. This guy comes up a lot. I usually make this guy every match, I think. He comes up a lot. Just any level 4 off Brain Mind with any of your tuners is going to make this guy. And he's an X-Saber name for Gotham's E-Call, and he's an X-Saber name for Fall Troll, as well as for the next guy, X-Saber Gotham's, who is the big boss. You make him every game as well. If you are synchroning, you end up making this card. This card's incredibly powerful. Tribute any X-Saber to rip a card from your opponent's hand. I have had so many games where this card just destroys my opponent's hand, and I just win. I think there's a match in the tournament where I'm dead lost, and then I rip 1-for-1 for turn, and then I take 7 cards from my opponent or something like that. No, 6 cards, sorry. 6 cards from my opponent, and then, yeah, I just win the game. Non-X-Saber. So I only play the 4 X-Sabers. You don't really have a lot of space in this deck, so you really have to min-max space. I play 2 Armory Arm. I borrowed a second Armory Arm from the tournament from Cameron, so shout out to Cameron. Thank you so much for letting me borrow the second Armory Arm. I only own 1. The card is important. You need 2 of them. There's going to be a lot of circumstances where you have level limit or some of your other cards set up, and you just need to make Armory Arms with Ragigura, like multiple arms, and then equip them to 1 guy and just beat your opponent down that way. And then there's some other OTK setups that take double arm. Ally of Justice Catastor, generic 5, Bionic, and Yugioh Guardian. These 2 cards are very important. 1 Arcanite. This card sucks. I actually hate this card. Every time I made this card, I was like, man, I hate having to make this card. You do have to play it because you play Monk, but it's so bad. It leaves this terrible body left over that just kind of like clogs up your field. You can't synchro with it. You can't do anything with it. I think in the game that I actually did make it, I had to crash with it because it was just like clogging up my board. It's really annoying. Black Rose Dragon. Yeah, broken. 1 Stardust comes in off of Road. You don't make 8s that often, but sometimes in the post board you do. 1 Colossal, same thing. Sometimes there's circumstances where you need to make him. He comes up against the Titanial decks. 1 Mistworm, I've never played this card in my life. It's never come up, so you could probably cut this if you wanted to. And then 1 Chimera Tech, because I do side Cyber Dragons. If you don't side Cyber Dragon, you can cut this card. All right, side deck, boys, side deck, boys. Double Possessed Dark Soul is my first time citing this card since the popularity of the Fishborg Frog decks, and it did disappoint. I resolved it, I think, 4 times, and every single time I resolved it, I was like, man, this is not that good. I'm going to be real, it's not that good. I think at one point it stole a Unifrog and a Dupe Frog, and I was like, okay. Like, what do I do with this? And then they just monarched the Dupe Frog or whatever, monarched the Unifrog, attacked over the Dupe Frog, and they got their plus. And I was like, I guess that was cool. I guess I outed their frogs, but they're still up on me, so it felt pretty bad. Double Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. This card's great against Lightsworn. I think you need to have at least 2 for Lightsworn. That matchup's tough. 1 Thunder King Ryo, also for Lightsworn, also for just random shit. I don't know. This card was mid. I probably wouldn't cite it again. Double Cyber Dragon. I drew it in one game where I got dust shooted, and I drew 2 of them, and it was pretty good. It killed my opponent's Thunder King, and then it was pretty good. 1 My Body is a Shield. This card is pretty good in this deck. I actually might even consider a second. I would have liked to draw it in one of my matchups. It's pretty good against Blackwings, and it's also good against your bad matchups, which is going to be Glads and Hero Beat. Having cards that are good in your bad matchups, I mean, that's what your sideboard is for, right? I probably would play 2 of that moving forward. 2 Pulling the Rug. This card is insane. This card is really, really good in this deck. You just set a monster, and you're like, all right, Caius me. And then you flip Pulling the Rug, and then it's like, all right, GG. And then you summon Arbellum because you draw it every game. And then you rip their hand. Double Trap Stun. Yeah, broken. Just extra sweepers for the back row decks. Double Iron Wall and 1 Gravity Bind to Floodgate people. These cards are good. I actually think Gravity Bind is insane in this deck, and I also think Iron Wall is insane in this deck. I had an Iron Wall counter at Caius. I had an Iron Wall counter at Deep Prison in the tournament. And yeah, it just feels really strong when you resolve this card. It's also insane versus Vayu Turbo. You flip it, they can't really play. So it gives you 4 really strong floodgates between this and the 2 Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer versus Vayu Turbo. And that's, that feels pretty good. All right, I'll see you guys in the tournament matches. All right, tournament gameplay time. Before we get into the tournament gameplay, I do just want to say that if you guys want to play in these tournaments that I've been playing in, they happen Tuesday night at 6:30 at Night and Day Games in Las Vegas. So if you're from Las Vegas or if you're in the area for whatever reason on a Tuesday and you want to come through at 6:30 p.m., it's a blast. The store is gorgeous. I'll just show you a little bit of the store. It's super, super cool. They've got a ton of games. They've got really cool table space. The table space is like these giant wooden tables. Well, this is an earlier photo, but now they have these giant wooden tables that are really, really cool. And I cannot recommend the store enough, honestly. Great place to come play some Edison. The people there are awesome. They give us great entry compensation too. It's like $10 entry, and we get a rarity collection pack and like an OTS pack as well. So that's just really cool. And then also, if you want to see additional gameplay, make sure to subscribe to Totagon at Totagon Plays on YouTube. He did a lot of work on this deck, and in his live section and in his video section, he has a ton of tournament VODs with a very similar list. So if you want additional tournament gameplay from this deck, go ahead and check out Totagon. All right, let's get into the first match. The first match is up against Blackwings, and it's up against a player who I've played against several times. His name is Mason. He's a good player. He's got a good idea of how to play this format. I'll just say that much. He plays Blackwings almost every single week, and we go back and forth here and there. I think he beat me one time when I was playing the Simorg deck, and then I think I beat him one time when I was playing the Road Warrior deck. So I think this is our third match going up against each other, which is pretty fun. So yeah, shuffling up, a lot of shuffling up. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip to the beginning of the match. All right. So I'm opening my pack while he's going first because I lost the die roll, because I never win the die roll, and my pack sucks, so I just throw the cards on the floor. And that's how it's done, boys. That's how it's done. Anyway, he starts off with Shura set 1, so pretty thankful that it's not a Black Whirlwind situation for me. One of the first games I've played against Mason where he hasn't started Whirlwind, which is nice. I'm looking at my hand. I've got set Monster, set 4, back row, and pass. I have no Starlight Road. I have no Solemn. I believe my back row is Fiendish Chain, Gotham's E-Call, Trap Stun, and I don't remember the last one. It might be Solemn Judgment. I'm not really sure, but I think it is whatever. Anyway, I decided to let him attack and kill my Sangans so I can search Summoner Monk. I think the last card in my hand is maybe Giant Trunade or something like that. It's a spell card. It's a spell card. It's either 1-for-1 or Giant Trunade. I don't really remember. But yeah, I grabbed Summoner Monk because it's the best thing that I can get for Sangan. And then I take 800 off of that. Anyway, I draw for turn. Or it might be Brain Control. Yeah, it's Brain Control. That's what it is. It's Brain Control. Main phase 2, he synchros into Magical Android, which is interesting to me that he doesn't make Catastrophe versus X-Sabers, but maybe he's scared of like Cyber Dragon. He doesn't know it's X-Sabers yet. He could think it's like Synchro Cat, and it's possible that we play Cyber Dragon in the main if we're playing Synchro Cat. So that would make a lot of sense. Main phase 2, he summons another Shura, so he's representing Icarus attack. But like I said, I think we do have our one of Trap Stun, so I think we're going to be okay there. I think I have a Book of Moon. I think that's my last set. If I remember correctly, it's Fiendish Book, Godam Z-Call, and Trap Stun, I believe. Anyway, for a turn, I've drawn Gold Sarcophagus, and I'm trying to think if I can survive long enough to Gold Sarcophagus for a Faltrol, and I don't think I can, so... Summoner Monk is going to get summoned. It's going to get switched to defense. I'm going to pitch that Gold Sark. He's going to try to Royal Oppression, and I'm going to chain Trap Stun. So this is just the power of Trap Stun in this deck. It allows you to go for your plays, allows you to go for combo. He's nodding his head like, damn, I lose now. Rescue Cat's going to get activated. He has 4 cards in hand, which means Urbellum is going to get a hand rip if it connects. But finding a way to connect with Urbellum here might be a little bit of a challenge. I think I'm going to have to Brain Control the Shura, though, to play around Kalut. And then I think I'm going to have to Arcanite pop the Android. So yeah, I do Brain Control the Shura to play around Kalut. I Synchro off into Arcanite. And this is a little bit of an awkward situation that I'm in, because I want to be able to use my Godam's E-Call to bring back both my Airbellums, but I can't this turn because I've used Trap Stun. So I have to wait till next turn. But if I want to wait till next turn, that means I have to blow up the Royal Oppression. That means I can't lock him under his own oppression. So I'm in just kind of a tough spot here when it comes to whether or not I should leave the Royal Oppression in play. No matter what, though, I am going to leave it in play main phase 1 because I don't want to play into a potential Gore. So blow up, attack with Urbellum first in case he has Tragodia. I don't think he has Tragodia, but if he did have Tragodia, it's better to attack the Urbellum first. And then Arcanite Magician attacks for 14. It's the same thing either way, but it plays around like a potential chance that he has Tragodia. Yeah, so Royal Oppression is face up. He's going to normal summon Bora. He's going to try to attack the Arcanite. I believe I tried to Book of Moon here. Oh, I Fiendish Chain the Bora. Yeah, I Fiendish Chain the Bora. So I save Book of Moon. Because here I can just blow up the Royal Oppression or something? Yeah, I blow up the Royal Oppression, flip Godam Z-Call, bring out double Airbellum, and then I have Faltrol. Oh, it's at 1 with the sword. It's not Book of Moon. That's what it is. It's at 1 with the sword. So here I'm thinking, because I don't... Yeah, now I remember. This is a whole mess. I'm thinking, man, if he has double Kalut, I can attack with Faltrol and use that 1 with the sword, and then I'm going to lose. So I'm thinking, oh man, I wish I could use that 1 with the sword here to pump through double Kalut. And then I'm not even thinking that I have to control only 1 monster. For some reason, I think I can activate this at 1 with the sword. So I'm just thinking forever here, and I'm just like thinking about what I should do. And I really want to get value out of the Faltrol, but it's just impossible to do that. Like, I'm not going to be able to special summon anything off of this Faltrol, which kind of sucks. But that being said, I can at least make Godams and like hand rip 2 of his cards and try to hit his Kalut if he does have one. So that's pretty good for us. I play this turn so poorly here. So the correct play is actually to Synchro with the Airbellum and the Faltrol. Keep in mind, this is my first time playing with that 1 with the sword and paper, and I'm just like, it's been a long day, right? But yeah, for some reason I think I can use it here, and I just fucking can't. So I'm just thinking about something that's like not even real. But the correct play is make Godams, hand rip twice, attack with the Arcanite first, and then crash the Arcanite, take 13, and then attack with the Godams, and then use the at 1 with the sword. So even if he has a last card Kalut, he won't be able to pump over Godams with that 1 with the sword. But I was supposed to crash the Arcanite first. I end up making the correct play, but I don't crash the Arcanite first, which is really stupid. So yeah, hit the card out of his hand, and I hit a Blizzard, and I'm like, he could still have double Kalut, so I pretty much have to hit another card out of his hand, and it was a single Kalut, so I'm pretty happy I did it. I try to activate at 1 with the sword, and then I'm like, oh, wait, I can't even activate. He's like, what does that card do? And then I read it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this card doesn't work, so I guess I just have to wait. So the correct play was to crash the Arcanite, and then use the at 1 with the sword to play through the second Kalut, because he was representing double Kalut there. So pretty big mistake on my part not crashing the Arcanite first, and the stupid Arcanite is in play, but at 1 with the sword here would have been really good if I had just played this turn correctly like I had initially anticipated. But for some reason my brain was just not on, or whatever. Pass. He drew, I believe, Brain Control Whirlwind, and then the next draw here is, I think, Shura? No, he just sets a card. I don't remember what he drew. I just pass back. He draws for turn, and there's the Black Whirlwind. Here's going to be the Bora, and I'm going to book the Bora. So I can't get over this Bora yet, because Arcanite's only 400 attack, but if I have a monster, I might be able to run it over. I need to top deck a monster here. And I do, question mark? I do, and it's Giant Rat, so I'm going to try to attack. And that's going to work, so pretty lucky on my part. He's going to normal summon Sirocco, and the best play for him here is actually to grab Gale, have the Arcanite, make Dark End, blow up the Giant Rat, and run over the Arcanite. Because he knows my back row's at 1 with the sword, so he knows I like can't do anything about that. And that's the best play for him here, but he decides to get Shura to try and ladder. And I think that this is a little bit of a worse play, because now it gives me opportunities to sort of like crash my rat and do stuff that way. He just passes the turn back. He doesn't attack either. I think at this point, I was thinking he's playing around Arcanite Magician, or he's playing around at 1 with the sword, keeping the Arcanite Magician in play. I draw Full Helm, so my hand's 1 for 1, Full Helm, and True Nade. So this is a really interesting hand. It's just really interesting, right? He could have the 3rd Kaloop, but I'm thinking it's not likely he has the 3rd Kaloop, because I think he would have summoned it earlier with the Whirlwind. So I'm thinking he doesn't have the 3rd Kaloop, as far as I know. Or that's at least my read. I don't know for sure. So I'm thinking what I can do is crash the Arcanite, take 16, and then crash the Rat, take another 6, go get a, I don't know, a Full Helm Knight or something, and then run over the Sirocco and try to draw a card. I could also try to set up a Fall Troll play here as well, and that's kind of something I could try to set up for this turn. But I think my game plan here was I was going to try to get to I don't even fucking know. I decided to Giant True Nade. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I decided to Giant True Nade, so. Yeah, I do go for the 1 for 1 play, I believe. Yeah, I go for the 1 for 1 play because I just need to get rid of some of his resources. He has too many resources. He has Black Whirlwind, he has Shura, he has too much follow-up. I need to make this play now so I can get rid of some of his resources. I 1 for 1 pitch Full Helm Knight, go get Raigura. Raigura is going to add back Fall Troll. So, I can get Fall Troll back in my hand, which is step 1 to ripping some of his resources away. Add back the Fall Troll, and then I can crash the Rat. If I had another Raigura here, it'd be really good to get, but I don't, sadly. So, we're going to have to get Emmer's Blade. But Emmer's Blade is good because it's sticky and it stays in play. And then I go ahead and crash the Emmer's Blade as well to go get, I believe, another Emmer's Blade. Oh, a Full Helm Knight to build a negate attack to defend my Fall Troll or Gotems. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to defend here. I special summon Fall Troll. I just wanted a negate attack in play. So I took a lot of damage crashing my guys there, but I needed to build this specific board to sort of defend myself. I use Fall Troll at this point to special summon back, I think, Emmer's Blade or Full Helm Knight. It might be Emmer's Blade, yeah. Yeah, do I make Gotems now? I guess I just Gotems rip 2 cards. Yeah, I guess I do. I hit the Shura, which is good, because that's the monster I needed to hit with off the Black Whirlwind. And now I'm thinking, like, what else do I want to try and hit out of his hand? What else could he possibly be sandbagging? And I'm thinking maybe Brain Control, something like that. So it's super worth trying to hit it. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Plus just getting my board low will make it so my at 1 with the sword might be useful. I set at 1 with the sword and pass the turn. I've already used my battle phase to initiate this play, so I just wanted to rip 2 cards out of his hand that way and end on a 3100 monster. So yeah, now he can summon any Blackwing monster, pump it up, and then run over the Gotems, which sucks for me, but I know his hand has Whirlwind, and I believe 2 unknowns. It might even be 1 unknown. I'm not even sure. It looks like Whirlwind 2 unknowns. So as long as he doesn't have a monster to summon here, and he's used up a lot of monsters, or if that monster is like Sirocco or something like that, it can be kind of awkward for him. I'm just hoping to get a little lucky, basically. He sets 2 back row, and then he thinks about attacking the Arcanite, and then he just passes. So yeah, basically forces me to crash the Arcanite. But at this point, I know he has Whirlwind in hand. I know he has like some other dead cards. I'm just going to force the situation of Icarus attack if he has it. So I'm going to switch the Arcanite to attack. And I'm going to attack with Arcanite and crash the Sirocco, finally doing that. I've taken 1 billion damage this game, but I should do a better job of keeping my life total on the screen. But yeah, I'm going to use that 1 with the sword finally, and then equip it to Gotems. He's going to take 19, and then we're going to draw a card. So what do I draw into? I don't even remember, really. I think it was another normal summon, maybe, or another Spell Trap card. I remind him that it is equipped. Oh, I draw Emmer's Blade. So I normal summon Emmer's Blade, and then I decide to rip his last card out of hand, and it was the Black Whirlwind. So yeah, he looks at his cards that are set, and he concedes. So I think his cards were Icarus Attack that he drew for turn, or it might have been Bottomless Trap Hole that was drawn for turn, and then Mind Control and Black Whirlwind. And Mind Control obviously does nothing because you can't tribute Gotems if you Mind Control it. And a second Black Whirlwind obviously does nothing without the monsters. So pretty lucky for us, we were able to grind out all of his monsters, and then he kind of dead drew like 3-4 turns in a row. And we were able to rip the right cards out of his hand with the Gotems at the right moment. But I think that game was played really sloppy on my part, especially with all that shenanigans with that one with the sword. But thankfully, no like illegal plays happened, so at least it's like a good video. Yeah, but I had to get pretty lucky to win that one, honestly, and we did. So you know, hey, we made the plays that allowed us to get there, and they did allow us to get there in the circumstance. So a little bit of luck on your side is never a bad thing. Moving into game 2, we're gonna go second. I believe I sided in the trap stuns, the 2 trap stuns. I believe I sided in that my body is a shield as well. And then I think I sided in, I don't even remember what else I was siding in this matchup. I open up my rarity collection pack, and here I get my rescue cat, and I try to rip it. And it turns out that the Yu-Gi-Oh foil is actually kind of annoyingly hard to rip. Look, it like peels in a weird way. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, that's weird. And I was wondering if you put like a lot of force into it, if you could rip it, and then I did, and then I was able to rip it in half. But yeah, absolutely mangled the alt art as it should be. You can see I opened up a collector's rare Pot of Duality. I asked him if he wanted it because that card is not legal in the greatest format of all time, which is Edison format. Anyway, we're going second, so that's always tough, right? And he's got Black Whirlwind. Oh no, Allure of Darkness. That's Allure of Darkness. Not Black Whirlwind. We're chilling. We're chilling. We're chilling. Anyway, he banishes DD Crow, and I'm like, that's good news. Because that means he either only has one monster or he has another DD Crow, but we can punish that because I believe we've drawn Rescue Cat, which is a great way to punish it, and Airbellum. So, yeah, I always draw the Airbellums. Summon Airbellum, it gets torrentialed. He forces the torrential there. And you can see in my hand I've got Heavy Storm, Mind Control, Rescue Cat, Emerald Blade, so I have a really good hand. As long as I don't draw the second Airbellum this turn, I have a very good hand. I take 1700, he sets 2 back row, I draw for turn, it's, I believe, Trap Stun. So, I'm like, sick. I'm in a Heavy Storm, I hit Deck Dev and Oppression, I'm like, alright, there's no Gores, I'm just going to go Cat before I draw 2 Airbellums, get him out of the deck, Mind Control his guy. Unfortunately, he has 3 cards in hand instead of 4, so we can't Airbellum and other guy rip, but we get to rip 2 cards, put him on basically 2 cards, and put a Synchro into play, which is nice. We hit a Dyna as well, so that's pretty nice. I said I can't attack with the Bora, give him back the Bora, Synchro into Airbellum. And the reason I Synchro into Airbellum is because instead of Black Rose Dragon can get stolen by a Blizzard into Goyo just the same, and if Airbellum's in play, then I top deck like Gotham Z-Call, then it's live, so that's why I like making Airbellum here. He summons Bora, he looks at his graveyard, he's basically forced to use Bora plus Kalut here, and that's what he does. So he uses Bora plus Kalut, kills the Airbellum, but now he just has a Bora in play, and we are no longer anything. I think we have Trap Stun, we have an Emerald Blade. I think I just summon Emerald Blade and set a second Trap Stun and pass. So I've got 2 Trap Stuns set. He goes ahead and attacks the Emerald Blade. We're going to take 400, and this Emerald Blade is going to get me a second Emerald Blade. I'm just trying to buy time until I draw like a Fall Troll or something. But yeah, at some point we're going to have to go get Full Helm Knight. Whether we draw Book or whatever. I go ahead and flip Trap Stun to play around Solemn. Plus I have a second one, so, you know, even if he chains Icarus, I can just chain the second Trap Stun. I normal summon Full Helm Knight. I Synchro into Hyunlei, pop his back row, attack the Bora. I know he has no cards in hand, so he can't Kalut me here. And I just pass the turn back. He sets a back row, passes. I normal summon 3rd Emerald Blade, attack for 36, and he's pretty low here. I think he's at like 400 or something like that. He summons Shura, he tries to attack. I book the Shura, and he concedes the game. So that's going to be that. We had Trap Stun for the last back row, and yeah, Heavy Storm, Mind Control Cat is going to be insane versus just about any deck you play against, and that's that. That's that. 1-0 against Blackwings. Feels pretty good. I did get incredibly lucky this game, you know, triple 1-of in the hand, but the deck is built to be really lucky. It's like just a bunch of power cards and like the bare minimum amount of bricks. So yeah, plus the crucial cards to keep you alive till you can get to your power cards. Next round is up against Damien, who did beat me the last time I played against him. I played against him in our big quarter-century rare Edison tournament, and he beat me with a Blackwing deck that was main decking Rykos. And I don't know. It was tilting. It was very tilting, to say the least. I think he opened double Whirlwind against me. There's actually a pretty funny shot of him looking directly into the camera here in a second, which is going to be funny. So yeah, he pulls out his Yggdrasil match. So we both got the Yggdrasil boys out here, repping those guys. Yeah, Yggdrasil Mat's just fire, dude. This one is pretty sick. Anyway, he busts out his deck box. It's got a waifu on his deck box. I don't understand that shit. That's not a waifu. What the fuck is that shit? I can't even read it. But yeah, playing against Damien. High roll. I roll a 5, so pretty bad high roll. But, you know, it is what it is. He rolls again, and he rolls a 5. This has now become a dice rolling stream. I roll again, and I roll a 3. So he rolls and he gets 10. So we're 0 for 2 in going first, which sucks, but it actually sucks a lot. Going second with this deck is really not that good. But you do have a lot of ways to cat, so it's not terrible. You have some good going second plays like Full Helm Knight as well. He T-sets. I know he's playing frogs because he told me before the tournament, so I'm just going to do nothing, I think. Yeah, I think I just pass. Like Gold Sark for like Fall Troll or something. Yeah. I'm just trying to set up the game where I win. I believe I have cat in hand. And I have one Airbellum in hand. And I think I have another Fall Troll already. And I have Trunade. No, I don't have Fall Troll yet. I have Monk, that's what it is. I have Monk spell. Anyway, he summons Ocean, he attacks me for 15. Which, you know, right on. Go off. I draw for turn, and it's double Airbellum. You can see me fan that to the front. I'm just like, wow, I drew the second Airbellum. This sucks. And so, I've drawn 2 Airbellum. I am bricked. I can summon an Airbellum to run over the Ocean, but I don't really want to give him Caius targets. And I want to leave the Airbellum, or the Ocean in play, because one of the ways I can set up a hand loop is with my Emmer's Blade and my book. So I have an Emmer's Blade and a book in my hand, and I can use that to set up a hand loop next turn. If he doesn't commit another attack position monster, then I basically can't initiate a hand loop next turn with Emmer's Blade book. So yeah, he summons Substitoad, so it's not even going to matter. He stacks the Treeborn Frog. Goes and gets Swap Frogs and all that shit. He just thins his deck out of the frogs. You can see in his deck he's got main deck Regeki Breaks, which is going to be pretty tough for us. He takes it back. He's like, oh, can I attack with this? I'm like, no. Jokingly, but I let him do it. We changed the life total, so I should be at 5,000 here. But yeah, I'm just memeing with him. I'm like, you attack me with Ocean, right? So I'm looking at my hand. I've got, I believe, double Airbellum. I show him that. I'm like pretty frustrated about it. I'm forced to just set a monster, and I'm asking him. I think I remind him at this point to change the life totals. I can't remember. Yeah, we change it here. Anyway, on his turn, he summons Evil Guy, Infernal Guy, sacrifices it to Substitoad, so thankfully no Monarch, but I can't imagine this turn is going to go well for us because he makes Unifrog, and Unifrog's going to force our back row. Makes me consider if I should have even set the back row. He attacks with the Unifrog. I booked the Substitoad. Since he switched it to defense, he won't be able to flip it and use it main phase 2 to get rid of his Unifrog. But now I got to deal with this stupid dupe block, and I got to deal with this back row all at once. The set card, I believe, is Monk. I think I set Monk to try and set up a Black Rose play. And I think that's what happens here. Yeah, I think I just decided to go for the Black Rose play, because there's no way for me to get through all of this shit with my hand and be able to, like, Fall Troll and do stuff. So, yeah, I just like, alright, he can only do block me once in Hero Frogs, so I'm just going to Black Rose him, and then, yeah. I'm like, do you want to do anything here? He's looking at his back row. His back row is Torrential Tribute, so it's like, doesn't matter. He's going to get Black Rose no matter what. Yep. Make the Black Rose, blow up the field. And yeah, even though we've drawn 2 Airbellums, like, kind of alright. He's asking me if there's any reason he should chain Torrential. And I'm like, no, you don't want to chain Torrential here, because then you'll destroy your dupe frogs, chain link 2, and then they'll miss timing. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, you don't want to do that. And then he's trolling me a little bit. He's like, what if I wanted to? And I'm like, shut the fuck. Fucking Damien, bro. Fucking Damien. Anyway, yeah, it's tough. It's tough stuff. Anyway, next turn he summons main deck Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, which is some spicy tech, but generally speaking, like, pretty bad. He banishes my Airbellum, but honestly, this doesn't even matter. Like, if I'm going to be able to combo, it's because I top deck 1-for-1, and no other card is going to get me there. And I top decked 1-for-1, so. I like almost feel bad. At this point in the game, he says, there's no way you win this game, right? Because you've drawn 2 Airbellums. And I'm like, I mean, there is a way. And then he's got, what, 6 cards in hand here? Yeah, he's got 6 cards in hand. I 1-for-1 pitch Airbellum. Special summon Ragigura, add back Airbellum. He's looking at the camera like, what the fuck is going on right now? Oh my gosh, it's so over for him though. I've got double Faltrol. I've got it all, bro. This deck is so incredibly broken. When you draw your combo, it's like ridiculous. Thank God we ripped 1-for-1. Even though we've drawn double Airbellum and our Gold Sark has gone south, we ripped our other combo piece. Normal summon Emmer's Blade because we need non-tuner in circulation. Special Faltrol, special Faltrol. Keep it simple. Crash into the Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, and he's going to banish the Summoner Monk. We need to do this in order to get tuner and non-tuner in circulation. Going to grab Airbellum, and now bad player here would attack with everything, but good player knows that we have an infinite hand loop, and there's no reason to give him access to Gores on his turn. So the only play here is just run over the Kaiku and then go main phase 2. And then after that, we rip every single card in his hand. We could also, you know, we could give him access to like Battle Fade or Trigodia, a bunch of stuff that's like really annoying. So yeah, Faltrol, use that Faltrol, using the sponge from my dice thing to mark that I've used the Faltrol. Synchro into Bryonic first. Bryonic can bounce the Faltrol, we can resummon the Faltrol, and then we can ladder into Gothams. And then we've got the Gothams Bryonic loop as well. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and make the Gothams now. I guess that works. Use the second Faltrol. This is the same thing. Yeah, this is the same outcome, but it requires me to discard a card. I think this is a little bit of a misplay. I think I should have gone Bryonic first, but yeah, I don't think it really matters. We pitch one, bounce the Faltrol, special the Faltrol again, got him, sacrifice Ragigura, and this initiates the hand loop. Yeah, Faltrol, bring back Ragigura, bring back Faltrol. So once you have Ragigura, double Faltrol, you can just rip every single card in your opponent's hand, and you kind of have infinite resources. Faltrol brings back Ragigura, which brings back Faltrol, which creates an infinite loop. Sacrifice, sacrifice, effect, special Ragigura, add back Faltrol, special, sacrifice, hit the last card, and then here we can go ahead and use the last Faltrol to special summon Full Helm Knight, which is the reason why we got him out of the deck. And at this point, he's just pissed. He's just like, what the fuck? I was crushing this game. He was up life points, he was up cards, he was up position, he was up everything. And all it takes is just 1-for-1 double Faltrol, and you win the game instantly on the spot because you take all of your opponent's cards. And in this instance, too, there is Bryonic as well. So if he had cards in play, I could bounce those cards and rip them with Gothams as well. So I'm just showcasing the full extent of the combo. He's going to draw a card for a turn, and he's going to consider his options. And he's like, yeah, that's crazy. Damn, dog, that's crazy. Let's go next. So a game where I definitely should have lost by drawing the double Airbellum there. We ended up winning because we ripped 1-for-1. So double Airbellum counter is now at 1, but thankfully we were able to clutch that one out. Moving into game 2, I have some really good sideboard for frogs. I've got double Dark Soul, I've got double Imperial Iron Wall, and I've got double Pulling the Rug. So I've got a lot of ways to hate out these stupid frog decks. I think I might even have too many cards for frogs in my sideboard because this matchup's already pretty good. I should probably be siding more for like some of the bad matchups, which we'll get into later on in the tournament video. So I'm going to skip past the sideboarding function. Not function, but section, sideboarding section, and I believe we present around here. Yep. Moving into the next game, draw. He gets to go first, and he's going to start off with something pretty passive, which is good for us. He's got set Monster Pass, and I'm just like, all right, he's not pressuring me. I'm just going to Gold Sark, and yeah. I still leave in the Gold Sarks with the Iron Walls in this matchup because Gold Sark is really good to see in your opening hand. And then if you draw it late and it's dead, you can pitch it to Bryonic or Monk, so it's like not even that bad, really. Yeah. I've considered, like, I don't know, some other stuff, but I've considered siding it out for something else, like Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, but I actually don't even think Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer is, like, all that good in this matchup. And I'll show you why later on. Because I do side it in later on. He sacks his Treeborn for Caius. I have Pulling the Rug, and that's just going to be all she wrote, because now I get to set up double Saber, and it's like, yeah, it's just like, oh, you have a back row? That doesn't really matter. I think I had Trapstone as well. Oh, I don't have Trapstone. I swing with Airbellum. I'm like, all right, that went through, so, or he's going to drop Fader there, I'm like, I should just make high on lane. I actually don't have Trapstone. I think I've got him Z-Call and Fiendish. Yeah, I've got him Z-Call and Fiendish. So I'm just going to make high on lane, blow up his back row, whatever it is. And then if it's like a chainable, then I can chain the Gotham Z-Call and just have 2 more guys in play for the full troll next turn. Turns out he set a bluff Miracle Fusion to try and bait a Space Typhoon or something like that. His hand must be pretty bad if that's the case. Either it's more Miracle Fusions or like he just really needed to bait me to go into high on lane or whatever. And he didn't want it to get discarded to Gothams or to get it discarded to like Airbellum or something like that. That's probably what it was. He goes ahead and sends the Substitoad off of the Swap Frog since he already has Treeborn. And then I think he bounces the Swap Frog and just passes. I draw for turn. I might have Iron Wall, Gotham Z-Call. I think that might be it too. Which is even better because that means if he has Crow Edge, win. Normal, Special Fall Troll, Special back Airbellum, attack, Full Helm Knight, bring back Embersblade. I haven't even used the Gotham Z-Call and I have a full field now. Attack with Airbellum. I'm going to rip the remainder of his cards. Even if he has Gores here. I could have played this safer around Gores. I'm just getting like cocky because like I have infinite follow-up. I hit his Tragodia, which he did not activate. Not that it would have mattered because we can make Bryonic bounce it and rip it main phase 2, so it doesn't fucking matter. At this point in the game, if you let Sabers get to this point, you've just lost. Like, and I think my advice for Damien in the future would be to side out Tragodia against Sabers. It's a pretty bad card against Sabers. I think Battle Fader is okay. I think Gores is sometimes okay, but Tragodia is really bad because even if your Tragodia lands, they can just rip all your hand main phase 2, and then you have like a 600, which is not very good. So, yeah. That's just going to be the game. I think I have Iron Wall, Gotham Z-Call set, and he's going to extend the handshake, and I get my revenge. So even though I drew double Airbellum, I was able to beat him, thank God. Defeated, deleted. Next match is up against Joe, which if you've watched any of the previous tournament videos, you know he's the #1 rated player in Las Vegas currently. He plays the most tournaments. Strong player. He usually plays frogs. So, yeah, another frog matchup, which should be favorable for us, but Joe's on some crazy shit. Like, he's always playing, like, Dust Shoot and, like, Thestalos and, like, Water Art and shit. So it's, like, ways to, like, really affect my hand, which I don't like. And he also plays Soul Exchange, which I don't think Damien was playing. And Soul Exchange is one of the best cards against X-Sabers, bar none. So, yeah, it's a very difficult time to play against, like, the more pure Frog Monarchs with the hand rips with your combo deck. I think that this is actually probably a significantly harder matchup than the Frog Hero matchup, where they sometimes leave, like, an Ocean in play, and you can just combo off of their Ocean. Like, you're like, oh, nice 1500, I'll crash, get full helm, attack over it, got him Z-Call, you know, rip your whole hand. Nice Ocean, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that type of thing, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, against the pure Frog Monarch decks, yeah, it's tough. He summons Swap Frog, he sends Treeborn Frog, and then he passes me the deck back and sets a card and passes a turn. We draw for a turn, and then he Dust Shoots me turn 1. You'll see my hand, I have 1-for-1, I have Fall Troll, I have Goldsark, I have Embersblade, so I would have had a very good hand here had he not Dust Shooted me turn 1. So, yeah, going second, I'm 0-for-3 in dice rolls. If I had gone first this game, it would have been really good for me. I could have potentially even hand ripped him multiple times on the first turn of the game. Would I have done it? Who knows? I don't know. But I could have put a Fall Troll into play on the first turn of the game, which I think is very difficult for frogs to deal with. And one of the weaknesses of always playing the same deck is that your opponent's going to know what you're playing. So, yeah, losing the dice roll here definitely cost me quite a bit. So my hand is not very good. I'm forced to Goldsark, go get that Fall Troll back. Now, because now the 1-for-1 doesn't do anything without the Fall Troll. I've seen a lot of people talking about, like, playing less Fall Trolls in this deck, and I think that that's just, like, incredibly bad. Like, this is the best card in the deck, and you want to draw it in every hand. I literally can't think of a hand where you don't want to see Fall Troll unless your opponent has a Christia in play already. Like, that's, like, literally the only time. And in those instances, it's like, okay, your deck is going to lose even if you had Fall Troll. Even if you didn't have Fall Troll, you know what I mean? It's like, you have to draw the out to Christia, and Fall Troll is, like, the best thing you can do after you've drawn the out. So, yeah, even in those instances, like, you still want to max Fall Troll because it makes it very difficult for your opponent to get to that point, I guess. Anyway, Treeborn comes back. I'm just scared of, like, I think follow-up, like, Water Art shit to, like, rip the 1-for-1. It's going to be really difficult for me to play. He sacks for Caius, banishes his own Soul Exchange, pitches special Swap Frog, and then attacks me for a lot of damage. Now, this is a really smart play from Joe. He knows the matchup is not good for him. He even said out loud that I have inevitability, so he has to get very aggressive here. And I completely agree with him. If he waits on this and just, like, waits to get value out of his Soul Exchange, and doesn't start applying pressure immediately, I'm just going to sandbag cards in hand, and then I'm going to hand loop him. And then he's going to have no soul exchange, no Caius, get no value out of anything, and I'm still going to be at 8,000. So him recognizing that he has maybe one turn to sort of fight through whatever it is, or like he wants to represent, like put a board into play and put me low in life so that maybe a top deck Monarch can win him the game here. He's going to bounce the Swap Frog. Leaving the Caius in play is very smart as well, because if he leaves just Swap Frog in play and bounces the Caius, then I can like maybe hand rip that. So I really like this play from Joe. I think this is a great play. Not a lot of players would have made this play. A very aggressive like attack for 3,400. Put a big guy into play. He knows my hand is 1-for-1, Emmer's Blade, whatever. And my draw for turn is Summoner Monk, I believe. So turn 1 on Fault Troll. And I'm thinking here like, okay, if I just go like set Emmer's Blade and he has another Monarch, I'm actually dead on board. So he's applied the appropriate amount of pressure. He's played the matchup correctly here. Just put me in a bad spot. Kept me on 0 monsters in play. Like, no, this is really good for him. He's playing the matchup correctly, and he's put me in the position he needs to put me in. And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I know Swap Frog. I don't know his other 2 cards, but there's a good chance he has another Monarch because he made this play to begin with. Maybe that, or he just top decks another Monarch, which is really bad for me, you know what I mean? And he didn't bounce his Caius, which means he definitely has a follow-up normal summon that's like at least strong enough to kill me if I do nothing, or like set an Emmer's Blade. So I decide to go for the Monk pitch 1-for-1, even though it fucks my entire Fall Troll plan up. I have to do it in order to survive. His super aggressive play has forced me into a bad spot. So yeah, I really like this play from Joe. I think it was a really smart play. So Monk, pitch 1-for-1, go get Cat, get double Airbellum, and at this point I'm like, okay, I'm going to get one hand rip. Maybe I can rip his Monarch, maybe I can get lucky, but maybe next turn I can top deck a Book of Moon 2 to go with my Full Helm Knights. And this game is exactly why I don't like drawing multiple Full Helm Knights. They just get stuck in your hand, and they don't convert to anything unless you have specifically Book of Moon. So playing 3 Full Helm Knights is actually really bad. You really never want to draw 2. You really only ever want to draw the 1. Or you want to be grabbing it off of what is that card? You want to grab it off of Emmer's Blade. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You really don't want to draw multiple Full Helm. This game, drawing 2 Full Helm, definitely not good for me. We go ahead and attack for 16 first in case he has Gores, and we rip the Monarch out of his hand. We rip the Ryza, which is really nice. Then we attack for 14 with Arcanite, and we pass. So I know his hand is Swap Frog, 2 unknowns now. And it looks like he has, I believe, another Soul Exchange and an enemy controller. So yeah, not really going to work out too well for him here. Thankfully, the Monk play was enough, and we were able to hit a lucky 33%er to stay in this game off the Airbellum. So he had his lucky Dust Shoot going first, and we had our lucky Airbellum rip. So a little bit of luck back and forth for sure. But our luck is working out pretty strong here for us. He's forced to pass turn back. We add back Fall Troll now. And now I'm in like a tough spot where I'm like, do I apply pressure by summoning another guy and like threaten stuff and force his hand? Or do I not do that? And I'm like, well, I have 2 Full Helm Knights anyway, so I'll just summon it and attack with both. Hopefully we can get out of this circumstance. Plus he's now down to 23. If his hand is just a bunch of frogs, maybe he'll be forced to commit them. Or like a back row like a Mirror Force, he'll be forced to set that. And that'd be good for us too. It's just more pluses. He rings back Treeborn, which tells me he has a conversion for sure, because he would not want to leave that in play in the face of an active Full Helm Knight, and it looks like he does. So he's going to bring out Treeborn, and his top deck this turn was actually pretty good. It was no, not Swap Frog. Oh yeah, it was enemy control. No, wait. I'm thinking of a different game. I don't know what his top deck for turn was, but he is able to make Goyo Guardian here, which is pretty good because he's able to steal an active tuner. He sends Unifrog because he recognizes I have no back row. Really smart play again from Joe. Like, he's clearly played this deck a lot. He's put a lot of thought into it. Like, I think Joe's such a good player. Like, I like watching him play, and I like playing against him because it's good testing. So yeah, Goyo Guardian attacks over the Arcanite. We're gonna take 2,400. And yeah, that's pretty much that. The cool thing about going to Night and Day, like once again, shout out Night and Day, is that basically all the players here are like really good. There are very few players who are like bad, or like there are some players who are like trying off meta stuff or trying jank stuff, like myself included. I'm playing X-Sabers, right? But all of the players are like pretty competent, which is nice. So you're usually gonna get 4 really good matches if you pull it, which is a vibe. And you're gonna get 2 cool entry packs and chance at winning something more. So yeah, I just set Ember's Blade, set back row pass. Hope he doesn't draw a Monarch, basically. Yeah, this deck is really, really tough to face if they draw a bunch of Monarchs and they just Monarch you to death, because you can never get 2 X-Sabers in play without your cat access or without your 1-for-1 access. And as you can see, I've burned both my Summoner Monk and my 1-for-1, so it's very difficult for me to get 2 names into play without Godam's E-Call or Book of Moon at this point specifically. And even Book of Moon isn't doing anything against Goyo or Arcanite. So yeah, checks his grave. He's decided he's not bringing back the Treeborn Frog. And if he passes back the turn to me, I am probably going to win, just because I have Fall Troll. He sets a monster, and I'm like, thank God. I needed him to miss like 3-4 draw steps there, and he missed 3-4 draw steps, and I'm just like, well, that's awesome. Normal, special, double Fall Troll, and then I can finally play the game. My back row here is MST, so it's completely useless. We missed a couple draw steps as well, but we were able to find the Summoner Monk, which allowed us to get through that Caius, which was pressuring us, and rip the Ryza out of the hand. So yeah, a lot of weird like circumstances here back and forth, but ultimately, if you're ever able to put 2 X-Sabers into play, this shit is what's going to happen, you know? So at this point, I'm thinking pretty hard about what I want to do. I'm thinking pretty hard. I think I decided to make Bionic because, yeah. I probably should have left the Typhoon in play. I was just really scared of him top decking like Econ or Phoenix Wing Wind Blast or Mirror Force or something like that to like, you know, like interrupt my 2 Saber play. So I think this is still fine. It does get kind of boned in a couple of things. I use both Fall Trolls to bring back double Airbellum, and I can make Godems here and just hand rip him first, but I decided to bounce the Goyo, attack over the Arcanite, attack the set. It's Dupe Frog. He's going to add a card. Now I'm going to get 2 hand rips, and I'm going to be able to end on Godems Fall Troll Bionic, which plays through Brain Control and Top Deck Enemy Controller, and it also plays through Top Deck Monarch somewhat. I attack. He's got a Fader, so that's going to be one of the cards. I go ahead and Synchro into Godems. I go ahead and rip his card, and I honestly just let him, because I know the last card is Swap Frog in his hand, I let him keep that card. I don't sacrifice my Fall Troll, and I just pass. He draws for turn. It is enemy controller. He does realize that he can enemy control me, but at this point in the game, even a lone enemy controller is not enough. I have nothing in hand, so I don't know if he can use the Godems when I have nothing in hand. I don't think he can, but even if he is able to go like enemy controller, take the guy, run over the guy, sacrifice it, I still have Bionic in play, and I'm still able to, I think, win the game, if I remember correctly. So he ends up conceding here. So, yeah, pretty close game, pretty back and forth. Turn 1 Dushu was really brutal. Seeing multiple Soul Exchange is obviously very scary. That card is incredible versus X-Sabers. It's part of the reason why I think Saberhole is really bad, because like if they have the cards that beat you, enemy controller and Soul Exchange, then your Saberhole is just another brick. And like imagine like, okay, my set card Saberhole, and I have like summon Full Helm Knight, and they go Soul Exchange, sack the Full Helm Knight, summon Ryza, and then they spin your Saberhole. It's like, bro, you just lose. You know what I mean? It's so rough. So yeah. Not that Saberhole is terrible against frogs, but like in the circumstances where you're losing, which is like Soul Exchange specifically, it's really bad. So I'm not really a big Saberhole fan. It just like, it makes spot removal that's already good against your deck even better, which is annoying. But I don't know, there's merits to it. Obviously having like a no cost fucking Solemn Warning is really good, right? Nah, it's not Solemn Warning. It's like a Solemn Judgment, I guess. Yeah, it's like no cost Solemn Judgment for monster. No cost Horn of Heaven. There we go. That's what we wanted to say. Anyway, sideboarding. I side similar way I side against Damien, but I do bring in Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer because I know his deck's a little bit more reliant on Treeborn than Damien's was. Damien can play the hero stuff, and I just wanted to try Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. I'm like, I figured I have a game to play with, so if I draw Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer and I lose because of it, at least I get some data that it's like not very good against his deck, and I'll know that for the future. But I think I brought it in. Anyway, I'm going second. He's going first. He starts off. He's looking at his hand. I think I see a Soul Exchange in his hand. I can't really tell. I think he goes Swap Frog, send Treeborn. Yep. Oh no, summon Armed Sea Hunter and pass. So this is a card he really likes, and this is a card that a lot of other players have been playing. It's got 2 effects. If you control another water monster, it negates monsters that it destroys by, or that it attacks, I think. Yeah, it negates monsters that it attacks, which is Pretty good. And then if he would be destroyed, you can destroy your weaker water monster instead. So 2 pretty solid effects. And this guy doesn't get hit by pulling. He doesn't get hit by Mask of Restrict. He's just like a solid play. And he like is really annoying against Emmer's Blade and Sangan and like Giant Rat, which is like 6 of my cards. So I'm basically forced to Airbellum, attack, book over it. My set cards are Fiendish and another book. My hand right now is Possessed Dark Soul and Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. So I've drawn 2 of my sideboard cards. He's going to Soul Exchange my Airbellum, normal summon Substitute, and I could Fiendish Chain the Substitute, but I kind of want him to go for the Duplock, because then I can just Possess Dark Soul it and take both of them. So I let him go through all his frogs. He thinks here for a long time, and this is where the match kind of like slips out of control for me into not a good place. So he goes Substitute, activate, sacrifice, bring out the Frog, sacrifice, bring out the Unifrog, and he misplays. And his misplay ends up saving him because Unifrog can't attack this turn because he used Soul Exchange. And he says go battle, and I'm like, you can't, because Soul Exchange says you have to skip battle. And now my Possessed Dark Soul kind of sucks because it's not stealing a Duplock, it's stealing Unifrog plus Dupefrog, which is significantly worse. That means Monarchs can start targeting my back row and can immediately force my Fiendish Chain, which is not good. I'm just in a bad spot here. And he's only sent 1 Treeborn, he hasn't gone through all his frogs, so Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer connecting here isn't even good. My top deck for turn is Gold Sarcophagus. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to search for, I believe, Fall Troll. I don't know. I just figured, like, if I'm going to win this game, I'm going to need a Fall Troll combo at some point. No, Rescue Cat. I don't know if searching Rescue Cat is right. Yeah, I don't think it's right. Maybe it is, because I figured if I take both his monsters and they stick somehow, like he only has 1 Caius, then I Fiendish that, then we're kind of chilling, I guess. It's just tough, man. It's just tough. I know he has Swap Frog. No, he doesn't have Swap Frog. He has Arm Sea Hunter. I don't know he has Swap Frog, but there's a high chance he has Swap Frog. Anyway, he sacrifices for Dark Dust Spirit. I was just like, dude, this is so good against what I just did. Even though I've resolved Possessed Dark Soul, it's like not good. It's like not good. I would have much rather like had like a D Prison or something. It's just something like different here. I don't know. Just ended up being not good. I'm forced to Fiendish the Dark Dust Spirit, which really sucks. Because then if he outs the Fiendish, then he can add the Dark Dust Spirit back to his hand. It just gets rough. Dark Dust Spirit in general is really good against X-Sabers because, yeah, with the Faders, you block the battle phase, and then you Dark Dust Spirit, clear the whole board. It lets you come back off a top deck against an established board as well. So even if I'm able to put anything together, and I'm super far off putting anything together here. I don't have Fall Troll, I don't have Cat, I don't have any X-Saber names. I have a Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer that can't connect, so definitely unhappy about having Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer in my hand here. I draw for a turn. I forget what I draw. Yeah, I forget what I draw. I try to attack directly. Uses enemy controller to switch the Unifrog to defense. It looks like a spell card. I think it might be 1 for 1. I pass the turn back. He brings out, I believe, Treeborn? No, he Typhoons the other back row in the draw phase, which is a smart play. Just plays around me having another Fiendish or pulling the rug or whatever. And I decide to book Unifrog so he can't brain control it and use it to pop the Fiendish Chain, or enemy controller it and use it to pop the Fiendish Chain. That was my thought process, in case he didn't have another Monarch to pop the Fiendish Chain, which he just has, so yeah, it's tough. And because I don't have double Dupe Frog in play, he's forced to Caius target the, or he can Caius target the Fiendish Chain instead of being forced to Caius target one of the Dupe Frogs. So now he gets his Dark Dust back, and I'm just fucking losing this game. I think the card in hand is Mind Control, and I have 1 more turn to find Cat, but I'm super far behind. I draw for turn. Oh no, I think I get Cat this turn. Yeah. I don't know if I make the right play here. I think I go to try and banish his Treeborns with the Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. Or banish his Treeborn. I know Swap Frog Dark Dust. I don't know how I know the Swap Frog. I'm not even sure I know the Swap Frog. He might have just shown it to me for no reason. Anyway, I just try to banish his Treeborns. I don't know if this is the right play. I think my life total might be low. Is it low? I don't know. I maybe could have just done nothing. Could have just waited a turn. Maybe I was hoping to rip... I was hoping to rip Fall Troll next turn and force him into a Swap Frog play this turn. Yeah, I don't know why I did this. I probably should have just done nothing. It doesn't matter. He has Vanity's Fiend anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, and we just lose to Vanity's Fiend, so... Tough game. I drew 2 of my sideboard cards, and they did nothing. So, didn't feel great, I'm going to be honest. I think at the end of the day, you just need to draw your combo cards, and if you don't draw them, then you're going to lose the matchup. And if you do draw them and they resolve, then you're going to win the matchup. So, I didn't draw them, and I kind of got picked apart. Book of Moon is not great against frogs unless you have full helm, and that game we never drew the full helm, so... Yeah, a little unlucky on that part. I decided to side the Kaikus back out and just try more of an Iron Wall strategy, I guess. But even that's not super great against like Ryza, Dust Spirit, Water Art, that sort of thing. If he can see my hand, he knows about the Iron Wall, he can play around it. Unifrog's pretty good against it, so... It's just it's tough because all my sideboard cards against this matchup are pretty weak to his counterplay, which is like Dust Shoot, Dark Dust, Ryza, and Unifrog, so... very hard matchup for sure. Moving into game 3, I have a pretty good hand. I've got Gold Sark, Rescue Cat, Fall Troll, Iron Wall, Gotham's E-Call, and Full Helm Knight. Which sounds good, right? Sounds good, right? So the play I'm thinking here is Gold Sark for Mind Control to make sure I can play through a dupe block if he's able to establish it. Set both my back row and summon the Full Helm Knight. Because worst case scenario, well, the absolute worst case scenario is I get Soul Exchange into Vanity's Fiend, which sucks. That is the worst case scenario. I will probably lose if that happens. So there's argument to holding the Full Helm Knight, but even then, it's not ideal, right? I could also just blow Cat Fall Troll right now. But then it's like I just end with a Fall Troll or a Gotham's in play with one hand rip. That's not even that good. And what if I like hand rip a Treeborn? Like that's not very good, is it? So I'm just not like... I think I'm just going to put the Full Helm in play, go for the maximum combo the next turn, which is probably going to get me a full hand loop, and just hope he doesn't have Soul Exchange into Vanity's Fiend turn 1. And if he does, hope I draw into my level limit, my gravity bind, my... double, well, I don't think I sided in Gravity Bind, but I do still have level limit, triple Book of Moon, triple Fiendish Chain, and I still have a few other ways to get rid of it. I believe I have, no, that might be it. I think I have 7 outs. No, I should have more outs than that. What am I thinking of? Brain Control? No, that doesn't out it. Doesn't not out it. Anyway, I Gold Sark for Mind Control, which will steal a dupe block. But I'm trying to think how many outs I have here to the Vanity's Fiend if he does have. I think I have 7 outs. I think I have 7, possibly 8 outs. I might be just misremembering my deck list, which is whatever. So, yeah, and also if he does have Soul Exchange into Vanity's Fiend, he just might not go for it turn 1. So I was thinking like maybe the 2 back row makes him scared, makes it so he doesn't go for it. He goes Soul Exchange, Tribute Summons for Vanity's Fiend, and I'm like, well, I've got a few turns. I can maybe draw the out. Pass it back to us. Draw for turn is Airbellum. So my hand is now Full Troll, Cat, Airbellum. And I'm like, all right, well, Airbellum number 1. I can still draw the out next turn. I can still Cat Fall Troll and still win. I've got some time. He might be scared to play into Mirror Force. He might not commit more. He attacks for 24. We take 24. And I believe he just sets a monster and passes it back. I draw for turn. I get my Mind Control. And the draw for turn was the second Airbellum. So I'm just going to attack his set. If it's Treeborn Frog, then I get to kill it. Also, the Air Bellum can act as a life buffer. It's, unfortunately for us, Dupe Frog. So that means even if we do find Book of Moon at this point, well, Book of Moon is fine. We can use Book of Moon to just book the Vanity's Fiend and then combo. Well, we could have had we not drawn double Air Bellum. But at this point, I'm thinking my chances are near 0 because I need to draw an out to Vanities like Fiendish Chain ASAP. And I also need to draw a way to get 2 X-Sabers in play. And I draw, I believe, Gold Sark this turn. So my draws were double Air Bellum Gold Sark. And I'm thinking, do I Gold Sark for an out to Vanities? Or do I Gold Sark for something that doesn't out Vanities? I'm like, I got to Gold Sark for something that doesn't out Vanities and hope to draw the out. Because once again, Iron Wall and Gautam's E-Call not doing anything here. I think Gautam's E-Call would have allowed me to combo had I drawn it out as well. Yeah, I searched for Fall Troll because it's like a card that'll work nicely as follow-up. And it's a card I also don't want to draw. So I thin another out from my deck. I think I have like 7 in 26. I have like a 1 in 4 chance to rip an out, something like that. Hits me for 24. I drop to 2k. He sets a back row passes. I draw for turn. I believe I draw Summoner Monk. So just really, really, really bad draws. He has a turn 1 Vanity's Fiend off of Soul Exchange. He just goes for it into 2 background. It just works out for him. Oh no, I ripped Possessed Our Soul, not Summoner Monk. Sorry, I saw the wrong card. I steal his Dupe Frog, but at this point it's like doesn't even fucking matter. Like if his back row does anything, I can't even set here because I summon the Possessed Dark Soul. So Possessed Dark Soul, despite resolving twice, looks pretty terrible here. I might just cut it from my sideboard for something like Lightning Vortex or something that can kill Vanity's Fiend. I think that that's like my data on Possessed Dark Soul after this match. I feel like it's not good enough. He's going to Dust Tornado my Iron Wall, and now he can just brain control the Dupe Frog and attack for game. So, yeah, really tough match. I drew double Air Bellum. Yeah, it was really, really, really tough. I think I had like 3 draw steps out of like 28. No, a little bit more than that. 3 draw steps out of like 31 to hit an out to Vanities, and we didn't hit one. And he also had to have it turn 1 with Soul Exchange in order to even play it turn 1. And he had to go for it into 2 back row, and he did, and it just worked out. So that was a tilting game. That was a really, really tilting game. By all means, should have been a game that went in our favor, but just didn't. It just didn't. I played around like, I think most everything except specifically that. And I did even think about it. I did think about not summoning Full Helm Knight to play around Soul Exchange into Vanity specifically. And I'm like, that's probably a fine play. But then next turn I have Cat Fall Troll, and that doesn't even really do anything. Like, I need to have a 3rd monster for Cat Fall Troll to really amount to a lot. Because then I can go, I have Full Helm in play, presumably. And then I go Cat, bring out double Air Bellum, special Fall Troll. And then I can attack with everything, hand rip twice, and then synchro the 3 tuners into Gautam's, because you can do that. Because Gautam's can take all tuner materials. And then Fall Troll, bring back Full Helm, and I can hand rip 2 more times. I could rip his whole hand, basically. And I've got Gautam's E-Call as well. So, yeah, it was just a really, really unlucky circumstance where he specifically had a combination of cards that beat us, and we never drew an out to it. So that's combo decks for you. Sometimes you just get floodgated. All right, moving into round 4. This is the fight for 3-1 for a respectable tournament run. So far, this is up against Will Isley. Shout out Will Isley. He's a pretty strong player as far as I know. I've never played against him, so I know he plays a lot online. I think he's in like, he plays a lot of online tournaments and stuff. So yeah, we played against each other. He was playing Hero Beat, and I was just like, dude, fuck me. Why am I in the Hero Beat bracket of X1? You know what I mean? Like, I should have just won the last match. Now I have to play against Hero Beat. Hero Beat is probably the single worst matchup for this deck. I think it might be the worst matchup for this deck. And I'm just going to go through a long list of reasons why it's bad. A, they play Skill Drain. B, they play Royal Oppression. C, they play Gemini Spark and Super Polymerization, and sometimes even Book of Moon on top of that. So they have 3 ways to interact with you under even Trap Stun. So Trap Stun's not even that effective. D, they have Hero Blast, which just interrupts everything. Their deck is just a fat pile of spot removal. C, even if you resolve the hand loop, they rarely have cards in hand beyond like 1 or 2 that they haven't set in their back row. D, F, G, H, I don't even know. Sometimes they play Dark Bribe, which is really good against this deck. Yeah, it's just a really bad matchup. They play Thunder King, which is like super annoying card to play against. I don't think Hero Beat is a good deck. I legitimately do not think it is a good deck. But it does have a good matchup against Sabers. It has a really, really good matchup against Sabers. And I'm just sitting here like, I had a Gold Sark for Fall Troll. I've got Cat in my hand. I can maybe piece something together. Thankfully for us, we do have like some pretty good cards here. I'm going to normal summon Emrys Blade and set 3 cards and pass. He's going to draw for turn. Maybe I shouldn't have done this because it incentivized him to set 3 cards of his own. He summons Alias, and I'm like, he attacks, and I've got at 1 with the sword in my background. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to ask him if there's anything before damage. I ask him if there's anything before damage, and he's like, I'm going to spark your Emrys Blade. And I'm like, all right, cool. So there goes my Emrys Blade. So Gemini Spark, annoying, even if I had traps on there, which I don't think I have. I think I just have like Fiendish, which is terrible against Alias. Oh, that's reason number I or J or whatever. Fucking Fiendish doesn't do anything against Alias. It just doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything against Absolute Zero. Doesn't do anything against any of his monsters. It doesn't stop Thunder King from killing your guy. Normal summon Airbellum, set back row, pass turn. He's going to end phase try and Hero Blast. And this is where I use my at 1 with the sword to defend my Airbellum. I ask him what Hero Blast does. I wanted to know if it targeted or not, basically. Because if I can make my Airbellum a non-target, but Hero Blast doesn't target, so it sucks. He's still going to be able to get back the Alias. So even though I'm not losing a card here, he's not losing a card either, and he's getting an Alias back, so he could potentially spark me again. And my at 1 with the sword, which was my damage step trick, which is what I was going to do, is no longer live as a damage step trick. It's kind of shown. It's revealed. So he ended up on the exchange, even though we didn't lose anything and he didn't lose anything. He still ends up information and position, which is really fucking annoying, I must say. Anyway, next turn we get Fall Troll, which isn't even that good because we don't have another Saber to put into play yet. He's going to go ahead and Rhoda for Ocean, and he's going to go ahead and, I believe, summon the Ocean, or set the Ocean and Miracle Fusion away his 2 monsters, which I think is kind of a weird play, but he's just trying to kill this Airbellum. I have Book of Moon, so I'm going to book his guy. Book is pretty bad against this deck too, but it's like alright against Absolute Zero. Anyway, I draw for turn. I get my Fall Troll. My hand is 1 for 1, which is pretty good. He's like, can I read Fall Troll? I'm like, yeah, sure. So he's reading Fall Troll. He's not familiar with a lot of my cards, which is fine. X-Sabers is kind of one of those decks where you can catch people being unfamiliar, but he's doing the right thing where he's reading the cards. He attacks over Absolute Zero, blows up. The at 1 with the sword draws a card because that's just how it works. And we draw into a monster, which is nice. That means I can 1 for 1 and go per my Fall Troll at least on main phase 2 if I want to here. And so I'm going to try to do that basically because I just want to get it down before he has a chance to find more back row or a chance to find Gemini Spark that's live or Hero Blast that's live or whatever. Like, I'm just not getting a better opportunity to do this unless I find specifically Heavy Storm or Giant Trunade off the top of my deck. And I think the chances of that are so low. I'm on 1 for 1 into Ragigura. He's going to flip Skill Drain, and I'm just going to be like, well, fuck this game, man. I don't want to play this fucking game anymore. I'm just getting floodgated in my favorite game. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and activate Godam's E-Call, bring out my 2 monsters, I think on the position of Emrys Blade, but it doesn't really matter. Then I just special my Fall Troll, because like I said, I just want to get it in while I can, basically. I could special summon, make Godams, and sack the Godams to rip a card from his hand, but he has 3 cards in his hand, so it's like not even good. I'm just going to special Fall Troll, priority, activate, target Airbellum, and he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm activating Fall Troll's effect to target Airbellum. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm activating Fall Troll's effect to target Airbellum. Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm summoning Fall Troll, I'm activating his effect. And he's like, alright, that's negated by Skill Drain. And the reason I'm doing that is if he chains Bottomless to Fall Troll's effect, then it will resolve. So you do want to summon Fall Troll and activate with priority under Skill Drain. Even though it will be negated, it plays around Bottomless because then it'll resolve. He normals Alias. He thinks about attacking the Fall Troll, attacks the Airbellum, basically confirms to me he has Honest in his hand. And I'm just like, well, fuck me, man. I just lose this game. He has Honest to get over the Fall Troll. He has everything. Like, he opened up Stratos, skill drain, everything. I Gold Sark for True Nade because the only way I'm winning this game is, like, I don't even know at this point. I've drawn Airbellums, bro. I stay drawing double Airbellums. It is what it is. He sets a Snowman Eater. That's the only card you set in that deck. Sets some more back row passes, and I'm like, all right, well, pass turn. He goes ahead and attacks, runs over my Fall Troll with Honest, I believe. My back row is Fiendish Chain, which obviously does nothing against Alias. Now, my only hope is that I can find level limit area B and stick it. He uses Honest here to attack over the Fall Troll. He sparks the Emerald Blade. And now that 2 sparks are gone, I'm like, maybe he doesn't main deck Typhoon or Heavy Storm. And if I find level limit area B, maybe I can deck him out. That was like literally my only chances of winning this game. I possibly should have Gold Sark for level limit area B, recognizing that he had Honest. He summons Thunder King Ryo, which is annoying because I have to Fiendish Chain it, and it'll still get the negate effect under Fiendish Chain because it tributes or it sends itself for cost. So, and at this point, I'm like, I can Fiendish Chain under skill drain, and he's like, can you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can because it says that you just need to target an effect monster, and then it makes it so that guy can't attack and it negates his effects. So because it just needs to target an effect monster, I'm pretty sure you can target an effect monster even if its effects are negated. It doesn't become a non-effect monster. It's still an effect monster, so I can still just target it with Fiendish Chain. And I explained this to him, and he's like, actually, I want to look this up. And I'm like, all right, we can look it up. And so he looks it up. And I'm waiting, and I'm chilling, and I'm under a floodgate, and I'm down 5 cards, and I'm just like, do I just concede here? I'm like, no, we're gonna play this out. We're gonna play this out. Oh my god, this match was torture. This was a really frustrating match to play. I believe I drew double Airbellum as well. I think one of the cards in my hand is Airbellum. So even like Cat Fall Troll here is just off the fucking table. Like, I think I'm just cooked this game. He's looking it up. I'm like just sitting here. I'm sure there's something like this on edisonformat.com that explains this, but yeah, all you need to do is target an effect monster. It doesn't say that. You know what I mean? Alright, I'm going to skip forward. This took forever. Yep. He tries to dust shoot me. I solemn it because I have to. Or else I just die to fucking anything. Set my monster pass. I have True Nade. I believe I have Cat. I believe I'm like trying to set up for something. But yeah, I don't know what I set here. I forget. He sacks for Cyber Dragon. He attacks my set monster. It's Emerald Blade. I'm running out of targets for Emerald Blade. I really need to find level limit in order to stabilize this game, but I just don't draw it. And I lose. I'm going to skip forward because it's just like a forever long game. He ends up finding Absolute Zero. I True Nade to add back my Fiendish Chain. I brain control the Absolute Zero, run over the Thunder King, blah, 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 blah. Long ass game. This is a game I probably would have conceded if I didn't have level limit area B in my deck to draw it out. I probably should have conceded because it took 21 minutes. Now I got a sideboard, but if my deck wins, it wins fast, so I'm not like super upset about it. Yeah, I get a side in all the cards that I think are pretty good. My Body's a Shield, Trap Stun, Thunder King Ryo going first, and then going second I consider Cyber Dragons. So yeah, don't bring them in going first though, because I just want to have a very proactive hand going first, and I don't want to be playing normal summon beat or special summon beat deck against his special summon beat deck. It's like not a game that my deck is designed to play, basically. I just T-set. He thinks for a long time. Thinks for a very long time. Thinks for a very long time. Normal summons Gemini Lancer, so basically confirms he has Spark. I'm going to use Emerald Blade's effect. Emerald Blade's going to go get me that boy, which is Emerald Blade. And he's going to set 2 back row and pass. So my set card here is Heavy Storm. I'm going to flip that. It's going to force the Spark. I've got Godam Z-Call in hand. I've got Book of Moon. I got a bunch of stuff in my hand. But yeah, might as well force the Spark now. I could have waited longer. Got more value out of the Heavy, but he would have just sparked my Emerson and gotten direct damage anyway, so he might not have even set more cards. I figured it's best to just Rhoda, go get my Full Helm, attack for 13, activate my level limit now, which is an FTK card versus deck if they don't have Spark, and then set Book of Moon, set, I believe, I don't even remember what else I set, but yeah, level limit area B is insane. I think it might be Gotham's E-Call as the card I set. He summons Thunder King, it switched to defense, but like, okay, that's fine. I can just run over that with Full Helm Knight. I top deck Iron Wall, so I wait a turn because I believe he has Deep Prison set. So he can summon Alias, that's going to switch to defense. I'm like, alright, he lets me go. I attack the Ryo, he tries the Deep Prison. I flip Iron Wall. He thinks here for a very long time. He lets that resolve. It's going to bring out the Emer's Blade from my grave. Now I can make high Lay to pop his back row, but I kind of like my guys exactly where they are, so I decide to mind control this guy. Here I special summon my Fall Troll in defense position. I synchro away with his guy. I make Urbellum. I bring back Full Helm Knight. And I'm in complete control of this game now. I have Iron Wall. I have Level Limit. He can't even do anything. He has maybe 2 or 3 cards in hand, and he's just going to concede. So, yeah, Level Limit's pretty good against Hero Beat. If you can force the Spark and then play the Level Limit, their deck really doesn't do anything. And that's why Gravity Bind is so good, because it's just Level Limit number 2, basically. Yeah. Skipping into game 3. Yep. Opponent draws for turn. Summons Thunder King Ryo. Sets back rows. I draw for turn, and I get Dust Shooted. So you can see my hand. Monk, 1-for-1, double Airbellum, double Cyber Dragon. Just fucking horrible hand. This hand is really bad. Like, even if I had a Raikou in my deck, this hand would be really bad. But yeah, this hand is just bad. He takes the Monk, just in case I do have Raikou in my deck, but it is what it is. I've got double Airbellum, and I've got 1-for-1, and I don't have Fall Troll, and I don't have back row. And yeah, I'm just going to lose this one slowly. I special Cyber Dragon, trades with the Thunder King, normal Airbellum, attack for 16. Hope to rip a key card out of 3 cards here, and unfortunately for us, we hit a Dino, which is a card that actually does nothing against us. So, yeah, really unlucky that we hit the one card that does nothing, and then he summons Alias, sets back row, passes. I got to summon Cyber Dragon, but I draw Trap Stun, so I'm like thinking, okay, I'll wait till I can use my Trap Stun to summon my Cyber Dragon. He end-phase dusts it, he attacks for 19, so we're just taking damage in the meantime. I draw Solemn Judgment, so same thing, got to set the Solemn Judgment, and hope that I can force through the Cyber Dragon. So I set the Solemn Judgment, pass the turn back. He draws Typhoon, just Typhoon's a Solemn Judgment. I'm like, alright, he knows my hand, there's really nothing I could do. He just passes back to us. After setting his 3rd back row. My hand is double Airbellum, 1-for-1, Cyber Dragon. I special Cyber Dragon, he's got Bottomless. I'm like, alright, that's awesome. Really cool, bro. Looking at my graveyard to think if I should 1-for-1 out the Ragigura at this point. I decided to just set a back row and pass. I believe I can take another 19 here before I'm in like a critical zone. He sets a back row, passes the turn. So he's drawn pretty perfectly here. Just 1 monster, a bunch of back row. More monsters would have been annoying, but it would have allowed me to play the Cyber Dragon and be a little bit less afraid. I set a monster, pass the turn back. He checks the graveyard, attacks the set monster. It's Giant Rat. Giant Rat's going to activate, get us to Emer's Blade. So at least we're kind of like stalling out here. He sets another back row. I'm just like, dude, 2 monsters, 11 back row, and I haven't drawn a monster out. Really frustrating the way it goes, but yeah, double Airbellum, etc. I switch Emer's Blade to defense. I mean, it's not going to matter. I'm pretty much forced to go for High on Lay at some point. I drew Summoner Monk fucking again, which is insane. 1-for-1, pitch the Monk. He lets this resolve, and he's got Skill Drain, so I'm like, alright, so I got to fight through Floodgate plus 3 back row plus Beater. It's just over. Yeah, it's just a tough one to come back from. I try to make High on Lay to pop his other back row. He also has Royal Oppression. I chain Gotham's E-Call to bring back my guys, but you know, I was just holding off the inevitable. So, yeah, I ended up losing that one. Pretty rough matchup, and I think he drew kind of perfectly, and we drew horribly, so yeah, tough tournament, man. Tough tournament. My closing thoughts on the deck. I think X-Sabers is a very good deck. I just think that if you're going to draw double Airbellum, it's not worth it. I also don't think I like siding Cyber Dragons. And I don't think I like siding Possessed Dark Souls. Because I drew them, and they did not win me the game. And for a sideboard card to not win you the game, or even put you in an advantageous position, it seems pretty bad. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the Cyber Dragons from my side deck. And I'm going to play something different. And I'm going to cut the Possessed Dark Souls from my side deck. And I'm going to play something different. And I think the cards I want to play are maybe Puppet Plant, a third Iron Wall. I just want to play more cards that just like instantly win me the game. So, yeah, maybe even one of Royal Decree, something like that. Yeah. Or Messenger of Peace, something like that. Something that just like... Yeah, Messenger of Peace sounds pretty good. It's kind of like another level in it, or another Gravity Bind. And it just buys you a lot of time. Infinite time, almost. Against some of these decks, like Hero Beat, Blackwings, that sort of thing. Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to try sideboarding next. That's my closing thoughts on the deck list. Overall, the main deck felt pretty strong when I wasn't drawing double Airbellum. And when I was drawing double Airbellum, it was just like unplayably bad. So, I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. If you can dodge drawing double Airbellum like I have, then the deck's great. Hope you guys learned something. Smash like, subscribe. You know the vibes. See you guys in the next one. Oh, and also, check out Totagon for more X-Saber gameplay. He has a lot of really good tournament gameplay playing the deck, and he's the GOAT. So, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.